Hey folks, Gary Flannery here from Run with Gary, sports scientist and running coach. Today we're going to do something very different, I suppose, to our home workout earlier in the week. We're going to work through a couple of exercises which are going to be much slower, much more controlled, and are going to help to build up your body's resilience to this new training regime. It is important to recognize that if you start a new exercise program, such as the one that you've undertaken here, you are going to obviously be doing more exercise than you were doing previously, or else your workload is going to come up somewhat. What we need to do, or what we need to ensure when this happens, is that our bodies are resilient, or their capacity is sufficient for this new load. So the exercises that we go through today shouldn't be taken lightheartedly. And ideally, if you could do this regime twice a week, plus it will really stand to and supplement your actual running within the program. So with this new program, there is going to be some mobility, there is going to be some stretching and some strengthening. And to kick that off, we're going to go through a variation of the world's greatest stretch. Try your best to keep up. If you feel you're falling out of this, or you can't go through particular movements, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to show some variations and some adaptations that you can work with. So to begin, you're going to start off with your left leg out nice and far. I'm working this on a mat. You don't particularly need one if you don't have one. It's actually just challenging my balance a little. As you can see, I'm barefoot today, so sorry if you don't like feet, but that's the way it is. So I'm stepping forward nice and far with my left leg, and my right hand is going to go to the instep, so the inside of that lead leg. I'm going to make sure to keep my back leg locked out, so it is going to put a strain essentially on the hamstring of my back leg. So I'm going to pop down this right hand on the instep of my lead leg. I'm going to bring my left elbow to my left ankle, and I'm going to turn it overhead. So I'm trying to get a stretch in through various areas of my lower body, and with that turn overhead, I'm bringing some upper or thoracic mobility to my spine also, and I'm going to work for 6. Hand down, left leg lead, right hand on the floor, elbow to ankle on that left side, and I'm going to turn it overhead. Ensure we've got that back leg locked out straight. We're going for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. From there, we're going to allow that back knee to travel pretty close to the mat. If you need to, you can rest on the mat. From there, I'm going to hinge upright, so now my spine is to the ceiling, and I'm going to turn my upper body to the left, to the right. Your balance will be challenged. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, and 6. From that position, I'm going to push that front foot into the floor and push myself back upright. So there is quite a bit of a strain on that. I'm going to turn my mat, and I'm going to show you from the opposite side. So this time I'll be stepping forward with my right foot, and now my left leg is locked out straight. I'm going to pop my left hand, right foot forward, left hand on the mat, elbow to ankle, and turn it over for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hinge it upright. Again, spine to the ceiling. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, and 6. And again, push the ground forward with my front foot. So that's a nice mobility. It's a nice stretch, a flow and dynamic stretch to start off. That's a great warm-up before you head out for a run also. Okay, so next up, we're going to work a little single leg balance. It's important to note that when you are walking or running, it is very much a single leg exercise. If you're walking or if you're jogging slowly, there are periods where both feet are on the ground at the same time, but there is always a period where it's only one foot on the ground. If you begin running at a little faster, if you like, as you progress through your program, you're going to get to a stage where one foot is only ever on the ground at the one stage. So running is a single leg exercise. So when this foot becomes in contact with the ground, it needs control, it needs stability, and it needs the capacity to take on that extra load because you are progressing through your exercise regime. So we do some single leg exercises because it is essentially a single leg sport. So single leg sport, single leg exercise. What I've got here is a towel. I've rolled it up tight throughout. I'm going to place the towel on the floor and I'm going to work single leg balance for 30 seconds off either side. You'll see me fall out of balance. I will get to a stage probably where I need to put my other foot on the ground for a second. If I do so, I'll touch that foot down and I'll work the opposite side. So it's a great ankle strengthener, it's a great knee strengthener. You've got various smaller muscles around the knee which obviously need strengthening as we land on that single leg. So, single leg, 30 seconds. You can challenge yourself a little here. You can go single arm out to the side, opposite arm out to the side. You could touch down. You could look to draw your name with the opposite foot, another little touchdown. You will start to feel some heat build up in that standing leg. Had another little touchdown. I've 10 seconds to go. As you can see, my ankle is turning in, turning out. It's been quite challenged. A little bit of a burn starting to come on now, which is good. And I'm going to work for my last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Alright, opposite side. My right foot is definitely worse than my left. You'll probably see that now, so this leg should be better. Okay, 5 seconds down. If I want to challenge myself a little more here, I can close my eyes. Good. Alright, look for my name. Y, F. Little touchdown. Try to hang on to it. And that's fine. You will find yourself falling out. Get your kids to do this, guys. Brilliant exercise for kids, and they can knock a bit of fun out of it. They can try spell their name, whatever else. So that is my single leg balance, and on this I want you to work either leg 30 seconds 3 times. So that'll be left, right, left, right, left, right. So next, folks, I just want us to talk about the plantar fascia a little. Our plantar fascia is a ligament essentially which attaches our heel to the front of our foot. So it attaches the front of our foot to the back of our foot. A lot of you will be familiar with the plantar fascia because you might have suffered some injuries, you might have suffered some discomfort, you might be suffering that at the moment. I know from your forums that this is right up there in terms of difficulties that you guys are having. So I'm going to show an area that we can increase the capacity or the potential, if you like, for our plantar fascia to be able to withstand this additional load which we're going to undergo. Firstly, I just want to give you a quick idea of where the plantar fascia is. So let's just look at the anatomy, if you like, of this ligament. Okay, from this position, if I grab my heel with one foot and pull my toes back with the opposite hand, you'll feel a ligament pop up. This is my plantar fascia, attaching the front of my foot to the back of my foot. Now, you can get a gentle stretch through this plantar fascia if you grab your toes and you pull them lightly back. Now, it's arguable whether we're going to actually get a stretch to this plantar fascia by going through this exercise, because this is a very strong ligament and the force which we can put on is not great in this area. So I'm going to show you another stretch which gets more of a stretch to this plantar fascia. This was basically just to show you the anatomy of that ligament. Okay, and just before we get on to that stretch, we're going to go through a nice strengthening exercise. All you need is some sort of a thick book. I've got a yoga block, works good, and I've got a towel. Again, I'm rolling that towel up nice and tight, and you can work this close to a wall as well. I place my book or my yoga block and I place the towel with leaving a couple of inches just on my side. The ball of my foot is going to be on the block or book. My toes are going to be up on the actual towel, and I'm going to work some calf raises. So as I showed you previously, when my toes are being held back like so, I'm getting that nice stretch through the plantar fascia already, and then we're getting a nice strengthening exercise whilst the plantar fascia is at its stretch. So we're going to work a count on this. It's going to be 3, 2, 3. So up for 3, hold for 2, down for 3. Okay, and I'm just using the wall for some balance. Up, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And I'm working for 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'm going for 2 more. 1, little quick on that one. 2, 3. Hold for 2, 1, 2, down in 1, 2, 3, and 1 more. 1, 2, 3. Hold for 2, and down for 1, 2, 3. So I'm allowing my heel drop right down to the ground each time. I'm going to switch it over, opposite side, starting right down at the bottom. This knee, I'm just soft through the knee. I'm not completely locked out, I'm not bent, just a couple of degrees in the knees. So up for 1, 2, 3, hold for 1, 2, and down for 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, hold for 1, 2, and down for 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2. Down for 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so that's our strengthening exercise for the plantar fascia. I do want you also to work 3 sets on either side. So that's 3 sets either side of 5 repetitions on each. Don't forget you're up in 2, 3, hold at the top for 2, and back down for 3. So in terms of the stretching for the plantar fascia, you're going to have to find someone in your house that'll work for this. Ideally a step or a stairs. The fireplace works good for me, so I'll take you through that. So I say the fireplace works good for me because I have this ledge. It's probably a little bit low, but if you have a step at home, stairs, anything like that will work fine. You can also leave something like a good thick book again against the wall, and it'll work fine. So I'm going to work my left leg for this. What I'm going to do is push my foot right the way up against the ledge so my toes are straight up. As I've shown earlier, you're getting a stretch through the plantar fascia, and then I'm going to move the knee forward in towards the fireplace a little. Okay. Now as you can see, my toes are straight up, and I move my knee forward. And we're going to hold that for 20 seconds. So I am now getting a stretch across the plantar fascia at the bottom of my foot, and I'm also getting a nice stretch into the soleus, which is your calf muscle running nice and low down to your heel. So keeping that nice gentle stretch forward. Going for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Alright, so with that plantar stretch, you're going to be working for 20 seconds either foot, and you're also going to work 3 sets of that. So I want you to be pausing. This is obviously much slower, so you can be pausing the clip here whilst you get in your repetitions. Next, we're going to work some external rotation through our femur or through our leg, and I'm going to show you that position from a lying position. What we're trying to do here is allow our bodies to be freely able to move in a range of motions. If we're running, or even if we're walking fast, and if our bodies are limited throughout any range, well then as we start to put more pressure, as the load increases, our bodies aren't going to be able to adapt in that new position. And I could explain that by I'll just go for a short run across the floor here. So if we have previously been in a walking program, or if we're just walking in general, our bodies are going through a certain range. Now if we start to run, the angles at our ankle, certainly the angles at our hip, even as we start to progress a little further, can become wider in range. So if I'm starting to run, the angle at my ankle, if I concentrate on my back leg, the angle at my ankle is now at a greater range in terms of degrees than it is if I was just walking. So with this new angle that I'm now trying to achieve, I'm also doing it with more load in terms of the load of the body. So I'm not only working a greater range, I'm working a greater range with a greater load. So the exercises that I'm showing here today is to allow our bodies be more adaptable to this additional load. And as we now go into our external rotation through the femur, of getting greater range through the hips, it's of the same principle, to allow our bodies through a range of motion at a greater ease. Okay folks, so all we have here is a wall. I've got a mat on the ground, and I'm just working a little hip mobility or a little hip stretch. The main difference, I guess, and I've spoken to those that I coach on this on track or in the regional, the difference between mobility and flexibility is the mobility is the ability to bring a joint through a range, and flexibility is the ability to bring a muscle through a range. So this is focusing on the mobility of the hip, so the mobility of the range of my right leg. So I'm going to move about maybe a foot or a little more from a wall. My knees are directly above my hips, my shins are parallel to the floor, and with that I'm going to bring my right foot over my left knee. From that position I'm going to make sure that my back is flat, and with this lifted knee I'm going to gently push it away. So I will obviously be getting a little stretch through my glute here, but it's predominantly a mobility exercise. So I'm increasing the range of motion in my hip. So I'm gently pushing this knee away, and I'm going to work for 30. I've 10 done. You can as you do, or you can as I am doing, just lay your head back on the mat for this. Another 12. Keep that gentle push away. 3, 2, 1, and relax. And switch it over. Okay, so right foot over left knee, and 30 seconds. It's important to keep that gentle push away of that knee. Final 15. And relax. Okay, and final exercise up, we're going to work a little ankle mobility. So improve the range of motion within the ankle. You saw from my demonstration earlier, as I'm going from a walking position into a run and I'm progressing through my program, that range at the ankle starts to close down as I start to run faster, put a little bit more pressure through my ankle. Our ankles need to be able to move through that range of motion at comfort, if you like. So final exercise, ankle mobility, and I'm just going to change up the camera a little. So first of all, for this, we've got to keep our foot flat throughout. At no stage will we get to a point where we're starting to raise the heel off the ground. From there, I want you to bring your foot right into the wall and touch your knee off the wall. So for me, that's fine. I'm not under any discomfort in the ankle to work that range. I'll come back a little, and that is fine. So I want now find the distance at which I can come back from the wall that I'm starting to challenge my ankle. That's fine. Okay, there I'm starting to challenge my ankle just a little. I can feel the stretch coming on through the Achilles. I can feel the stretch coming through to Soleus a little. But my heel is not lifting off the ground. And I'm just going to come back a touch more. So you don't want to come back so far that I'm really having to lift my heel. I'm really having to put a huge amount of pressure through my ankle to reach the wall. I want to be at a point where I'm having to work maybe 70 to 80% to get my knee off the wall. And from that, you can work in 3 planes. So I'll work over the big toe. I'll work over the little toe, which, as you can see from me, is much more of a challenge. I come in a little closer over the middle toe or over the baby toe and right down the center of my foot. So I'll go big toe, little toe, right down the center. Big toe, little toe, right down the center. Now, when you're working this, you're going to slow this down a little. So I'm going to show the pace we're going to work to. Switch over, opposite leg. Find my range. That's my challenge there. I'm maybe 4 inches or so back from the wall. Big toe, hold, 3, 2, 1. Baby toe, hold, 3, 2, 1. Right down the center, hold, 3. You can do what you want with this back leg, it's only for balance. 3, 2, 1. And I'll work 3 sets. So I go back to big toe, 1, 2, 3. Baby toe, 1, 2, 3. Right down the center, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to work one more set. Baby toe, 1, 2, 3. You can change it up. It doesn't particularly matter if you work over the big toe, over the baby toe, right down the center first. You can change it up a little for yourselves, but try do each direction 3 times. 3, and relax. So you're going to work each foot. For that, you're going to work each foot in 3 different planes 3 times. So if you like, it'll be 9 little repeats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're then going to work the other foot and you're going to work 2 full rounds. So that is today's regime, if you like. You will have stopped a few times and paused it, tried to take in the information that I'm trying to get across. If you force running, it's not going to work. It'll work for a period. You might hang in there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, possibly. But as soon as the body starts to break down, it becomes a really frustrating area to get back on top of. It's going to become financially very straining. It's going to become straining on the head. So you have to let running come to you a little. Not every session that you go into should you feel like you're hanging in there when you come out of it. It's not the case, and that should be the same, folks, for when you go for your run on the roads. Don't make them exhaustive. All right, slow things down. And the one advice I will give to runners is you have to slow down to speed up. You've got to slow things down and allow your bodies recover a little more in order to improve, basically. So look, that is home workout 2. So you've got your home workout 1, you've got your home workout 2, which you're going to work for the first 3 weeks. You don't have to necessarily work them on the days that I've placed them in on. You can mix and match them up a little. You can do the session that we've just went through today 2-3 times a week. Absolutely. You could do elements of it in the morning. You could do elements of it in the evening. The home workout 1 that I put up earlier in the week, you could do this once. You could even do twice if you wanted in the week. So yeah, look, that's it. What I will say is I'm getting used to this video editing and trying to do these home workouts and things. It's not something I've ever done. I'm much more comfortable working in person with somebody as opposed to talking to myself. Find it quite challenging, so just bear with me for the time being, and hopefully I'll get better and I'll progress at that for your benefit as well. Thank you very much. Chat to you soon.